Jingming did the same. The final phase of the exam had officially begun. Jingming was filled with curiosity. He wondered just what kind of level 2 monsters the organizers would unleash for the students to face. Not long after, Zhou Ming and the others had already reached the vicinity of the central core area. Standing on top of a building, they cast their gaze downward. When they saw the enormous bear moving below, everyone was filled with fear. They hadn't expected to encounter the Blood Berserk bear the moment they stepped into this area. Among monsters, the Blood Berserk bear was infamous as an extremely rare and incredibly difficult creature to deal with. Zhou Ming's expression turned grim, putting aside its terrifying strength. Just its thick, tightly interwoven fur covering its entire body was tougher than E-grade alloy. Even a missile couldn't easily break through it. If it were just an ordinary Tier 2 monster, the 4 of them joining forces might still be able to hold out for a while. But against this white bear's strength, just one strike from its iron pan-sized paw would kill them all instantly. There was simply no way to withstand it. Beside him, Yang Qi was also full of worry. She felt they should abandon their plan to enter the central core. On the open ground below, dozens of monsters were already occupying the area. Looking down, she thought there was no need for the white bear to even act. If they set foot in the residential district, those high-tier level 1 monsters would rush at them and tear them apart. At most, the 4 of us together could handle 3 or 4 high-tier level 1 monsters. I'm out. Even if we fight to the death here, it's not worth the few points we'd gain. Zhou Ming's face was twisted with frustration as he cursed silently, wondering which bastard could have designed an exam with monsters this terrifying. But at that very moment, a girl named Meng Di suddenly pointed below and shouted, "Wait! Everyone, there's someone down there." Then, the name Xu Jingming rang out, making everyone's steps halt in astonishment. They could hardly believe what they had just heard. In the distance below, a black shadow charged forward at incredible speed. It moved like a hunting cheetah, and in just a few seconds, it had rushed straight to the entrance of the residential district. All eyes instantly focused on the spot where Xu Jingming had appeared. Meng Di's cheeks flushed as she praised how handsome Xu Jingming was. Zhou Ming, however, snorted coldly. What good is being handsome? Throwing yourself into a horde of monsters like that is nothing but suicide. Roar, roar. Sure enough, Xu Jingming's appearance instantly threw the monsters below into chaos. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen high-tier level 1 monsters roared and charged straight at him. It's over. He's angered the entire horde. Meng Di cried out in panic. At first, Xu Jingming was able to handle a few of the monsters that lunged at him, killing many with a single strike with ease. But immediately after, as wave after wave of monsters swarmed in, he was overwhelmed. In no time, Xu Jingming's figure was swallowed up by the ferocious horde. Xu Jingming, could he really have died just like that? Why would he be so reckless? Zhou Ming frowned. At this distance, even if they wanted to save him, it was already too late. By the time they rushed down, Xu Jingming would be dead beyond saving. Yang Qi, however, refused to give up. She decided she had to go down and see for herself what had become of Xu Jingming. But the others immediately held her back, urging her to calm down. They argued that going down would be pointless. With that overwhelming number of monsters, they would only end up dying the same way as Xu Jingming. Yet Yang Qi still wouldn't give up. She revealed that Xu Jingming was her cousin, and she couldn't just stand there and watch him die. But at that very moment, everyone's hearts suddenly jolted violently. A deep, majestic voice suddenly echoed right by their ears, lightning. Immediately after, amidst the deafening rumble of thunder, a surge of violet shockwaves erupted ferociously at the very center of the monster horde. Boom! Every monster struck by the shockwave convulsed as though struck by lightning. Their bodies shriveled, charred black, and were hurled backward. The once dense horde was instantly swept clean in a swath, as though messy pencil marks on paper had been wiped away by an eraser, leaving behind a vast, empty space. At the very center of that clearing, Xu Jingming's tall and upright figure stood proudly, like a war god descending upon the world. Around him, countless arcs of violet lightning crackled, coiling about his body as if cheering and welcoming the arrival of a sovereign. Xu Jingming smiled faintly, admitting to himself that his raw strength alone was still not enough to face higher-ranked monsters. He had to use his ability. Raising his left hand, his eyes gleamed with fascination as violet sparks danced at his fingertips. The might of an ability was tied to both its rank and its fundamental attributes. Indeed, an S-rank ability, so domineering, so overwhelming. His gaze shifted forward. The dozen monsters that were left half dead and twitching had already drawn the attention of the Beast King here. The white bear, once lying prone, now stood up on its hind legs. It loomed 5 meters tall, 3 meters across, no different from a heavy tank. Imagine a hulking tank suddenly rearing upright. The sheer oppressive force of that vision was terrifying beyond measure. That was the scene Xu Jingming now faced, the rare monster. The white bear. This year's martial arts examination was anything but easy. But with S-rank power, he believed he could handle it. Yet under its oppressive aura, the remaining monsters, who had already been cowed by Xu Jingming's display, now went berserk. Xu Jingming realized that once the battle with the bear began, the others would seize the opportunity to attack, which would be troublesome. He decided to clear out the lesser monsters first. Xu Jingming's eyes suddenly turned razor-sharp. The lightning that had only been swirling about his body now surged inward at his command. His entire body quaked violently, as though injected with a powerful stimulant. In an instant, his once clear eyes were flooded with the violet glow of lightning. A terrifying power erupted through his limbs, coursing through his entire body. On his sharply defined face, Xu Jingming's lips curled into a savage grin. The very next moment, Xu Jingming shot forward at the small monsters. Lightning flared, and his figure vanished from where he stood. When he reappeared, he was right beside a high-tier level 1 tiger. A heartbeat later, the spear in his hand flashed like a bolt of lightning, tracing a violet-black arc through the air. Before the tiger could even react, the spear pierced straight through its heart, killing it instantly. One after another, the nearby monsters were struck down in the same way. Almost every thrust, every slash, meant another high-tier level 1 monster slain. This state he had entered was one of the fundamental applications of the lightning system, lightning infusion. By channeling lightning directly into his body, every cell was stimulated, causing his physique to undergo a dramatic surge. He could feel it clearly, the thunderous current coursing through him like a raging river, amplifying his strength to an unbelievable degree. Of course, letting lightning rampage through the body was extremely dangerous. One slip, and his meridians could shatter. That was why this state couldn't last for long. But to wipe out these monsters? It was more than enough. When he appeared beside a high-tier level 1 rhinoceros, the spear in his hand flashed like lightning, carving a violet-black arc through the air. Before the beast could even react, a thin line of blood appeared across its neck. A moment later, its massive head slid smoothly to the ground. Xu Jingming's score points surged upward at an astonishing speed. Roar! Seeing the rhino slain right before its eyes, the white bear finally lost control. It let out a thunderous roar and charged straight at Xu Jingming. Despite its massive frame, the white bear's speed was anything but slow. Its powerful limbs pounded the earth, and in the blink of an eye, it crossed more than 30 meters. In the next instant, a colossal punch smashed down at the spot where Xu Jingming stood. But if the white bear was fast, Xu Jingming was faster. Empowered by the violet heaven divine lightning, he vanished from that spot in a flash. The bear spotted him not far away and bellowed again, charging once more. Its bloodshot eyes blazed with fury. Perhaps this was the first time a human had dared to treat it with such contempt. Xu Jingming, however, had no intention of clashing with the bear just yet. The level 1 monsters were still around. Evading its swipe, he leapt into the air. In the next breath, he became a violet-black blur, weaving through the monster horde. Each strike of his lightning-wreathed black spear claimed another life. Dang! Eliminated high-tier level 1 rhino. Plus 15 ability points. Eliminated high-tier level 1 shadow cat. Plus 13 ability points. Eliminated high-tier level 1 tiger. Plus 14 ability points. The crisp system prompts rang endlessly in Xu Jingming's mind. At the same time, the white bear's furious yet powerless roars echoed through the central core, its rage shaking the air as it failed again and again to catch Xu Jingming. But Xu Jingming didn't stop. With a playful smile, he taunted, "What's wrong? Are you angry? Are you mad because I'm slaughtering your underlings?" Boosted by the violet heaven divine lightning, Xu Jingming was as carefree as if walking a dog in the park, mocking the bear as he thinned the horde. Now, only one rhinoceros remained before him. He chuckled, saying he would play with the bear after dealing with the last beast. The colossal monster seemed to realize its speed wasn't enough. To keep chasing was nothing but a mockery. Standing in the center of the plaza, its mountain-like figure locked onto Xu Jingming with eyes as red as blood. almost simultaneously, as Xu Jingming appeared before the rhino. The white bear suddenly materialized right behind it. With a thunderous roar, its enormous paws clapped together from both sides, smashing at the spot where Xu Jingming stood. Even he was startled. He hadn't expected the beast to predict his movements. The bear's massive palms collided with a deafening crack of bone and splattering flesh. The shockwave kicked up a storm of dust that blanketed the area. But the strike hadn't hit Xu Jingming. Instead, the rhino's body had been completely obliterated between the bear's crushing blows. At that moment, Xu Jingming appeared in midair behind the beast, his entire body cloaked in arcs of violet lightning. With a confident smile, he declared, "Let's see if your fur can withstand the power of my lightning." Thanks for watching. I'm going to introduce the new manhwa. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you want to see a specific manhwa, name in the comments, I will try to make it. It will take long time, but I try to make it, and see you tomorrow.